Hello everybody, it's Eric Papenfuse. It's Friday, so it must be a buy day. And today I want to talk a little bit about sourcing books at auctions. Auctions are a wonderful way to acquire books. We bid at auctions all the time. There's a great website called Rare Book Hub. You can check it out. It has a daily, weekly, and monthly book auction calendar. And when I'm buying books at auction, I try and buy books that interest me because then I can explain to others why they should be interested in them as well. But I'm also looking for two characteristics. One is scarcity, or the uniqueness of an item, and the second has to do with aesthetic beauty. And in the category of aesthetic beauty, I wanted to talk today a little bit about Victorian gift books. And just last week, I was fortunate to buy 2 lots of gift books. Bought about 24 of these books at auction, and you can see these still have the auction tags from the particular auction I was in. And what is a gift book? Well, a gift book was very popular from about the 1820s to the Civil War. They were annuals, and they contained these wonderfully elaborate, often embossed leather covers, gilt gold work on the spine and on the front boards. And they were very expensive books at the time, and they're lovely works of art. In fact, at the time, they cost $4 or $5, which is about 4 or 5 times what a regular book might cost. So a cloth book was maybe 75 cents or $1, and these were more. So the equivalent of like buying a $100 book today. And they became done every year, and you would buy them in the fall as a Christmas present or a holiday or New Year's present for either your sweetheart or somebody that you care very much about. A lot of them are very sentimental. They have names after flowers like the rose or the bouquet or gemstones. But these are just called the gift of friendship and memory's gift. Because the embossed covers required the leather to be really thin, oftentimes it's split. And here's an interesting fact about gift books. They were the first books in American history to have dust jackets as well as slip cases, and that was to protect the elaborate bindings. But they are also famous because of 2 things. One, they were some of the first books to use steel engravings. And this book is interesting here because it has a wonderful steel engraved portrait by the American artist Thomas Sully. And in some cases, the steel engravings are the only known copies of these portraits that are still able to be found. You can see the quality of that. They also paid the authors very well. And so somebody like Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote all of his stories for gift books. And when he published a book called Twice Told Tales, it was because they had been told first in the gift books of the era. This gift book is particularly interesting because it contains a short story, the first printing ever of a story by Poe called The Pit and the Pendulum. So don't ask why a story of torture in the Spanish Inquisition is in the midst of this sentimental Victorian book, or do ask, because at the beginning of the book, it talks about how this is an American volume with American authors and American illustrators. And it's a really, really wonderful thing. Over 1,000 of these gift books were published in America between the 1820s and the Civil War, so they're fun to collect today. Second topic at auction has to do with scarcity. And I also found at this very same auction an amazing scrapbook, and that was a Victorian pastime. This happens to be a scrapbook, which is just filled with news clippings related to President James Garfield. It starts at the beginning with his nomination. It runs through and has everything from broadsides and campaign literature to his speeches. It even has some of the things he said about the gold standard, and it contains the maxims of James Garfield. Did you know he was famous for saying, "I would rather be beaten in right than succeed in wrong"? Well, I had no idea. And if you thought politics was nasty today, well, you didn't want to be a Democrat running against Garfield, because if you were associated with Boss Tweed, John Wilkes Booth, Yellow Fever Blackburn, Mrs. Surratt, and the Lincoln conspirators, John B. Floyd, the great gun thief, and Gully the murderer. That would be if you were General Hancock. So tough politics of the day. And then the scrapbook, which contains a lot of unique things, like these very hard to find pamphlets, even the black-edged obituary columns from the newspaper clippings, ends with just a simple letter to the editor about the murderer Gateau, who was an office seeker who shot Garfield. And it ends in this letter which just simply says, We hope you're dead, and your putrid breath has gone out over your rotten corpse, and millions will shout out that you are where the fire don't go out. So on that negative note, we are going to end with a funny book. And viewers of Instagram may know this book, and you may have seen it in the window already. It is How to Train Your Goldfish Using Dolphin Training Techniques. But I bet you've never opened up the book and seen some of those amazing techniques in action, teaching your goldfish to do it. Now, this book is funny in part because it contains some of the most hilarious Amazon reviews you will read online. This one I like because he talks about how he can't really review the book till after the criminal court case is over on the advice of his lawyers. But suffice it to say that there are certain skills that you can teach your goldfish that have adverse effects, such as attaching mines to ships. And all he's going to say is he has a 25-foot crater in his living room. So How to Train Your Goldfish Using Dolphin Training Techniques, our funny book of the day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week and every week on Friday for Buy Day Friday.